Picture this. It's 1999 and Brendan Fraser's The Mummy storms theaters, a swashbuckling adventure packed with witty one-liners, romance, and just enough scares to keep you on edge. Fast forward to 2017, and Tom Cruise's The Mummy reboot lands with a thud, a joyless horror slog that buries Universal's grand, dark universe before it even begins. What went wrong? At Fan Expo Denver in July 2025, Fraser, now 56, reunited with co-stars John Hannah, Patricia Velasquez, and Oded Fehr, and dropped a truth bomb that's still echoing through Hollywood. It ain't easy. We all know how hard this movie is to make. The answer is you've got to give everybody what they really, really want. If you stray from that path, Fraser's trilogy, The Mummy, 1999, The Mummy Returns, 2001, and The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, 2008, was a cultural juggernaut. The 1999 film alone raked in $409 million globally. That's $767 million today, launching Fraser as the charming, rough-around-the-edges Rick O'Connell and Rachel Weisz as the brainy Evelyn Carnahan into stardom. It was a thrill ride. Think Indiana Jones with mummies, sword fights, and a wink at the audience. But when Cruise stepped into the sarcophagus as U.S. Army Sergeant Nick Morton in 2017, the magic was gone. The reboot tanked, losing Universal an estimated $100 million and earning a dismal 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Director Alex Kurtzman called it the biggest failure of my life, both personally and professionally. So, why did Fraser's films soar while Cruise's crashed? Where it all went wrong? Let's set the scene. Fraser's Mummy was a love letter to adventure, blending campy humor, heart-pounding action, and a cast with electric chemistry. The thing with all of these films is that, at least it was fun, it was a thrill ride, and you wanted to do it again. Fraser said at Fan Expo, his voice carrying the weight of someone who'd lived the grind of making those films. His Rick O'Connell was relatable, an awkward, brave everyman who stumbled into heroism. Add Wise's whip-smart Evelyn, and you had a duo audiences rooted for. Even Dwayne Johnson's debut as the Scorpion King in The Mummy Returns sparked a spin-off franchise. The formula? Simple. Give people a good time. Now, cut to 2017. Universal, hungry for a Marvel-style cinematic universe, bet big on the dark universe, with Cruise's The Mummy as the cornerstone. The marketing screamed ambition, a star-studded teaser featuring Cruise, Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll, Javier Bardem, and Johnny Depp. But the film? A grim, horror-heavy mess. It was too much of a straight-ahead horror movie, Fraser told Variety in 2022. The Mummy should be a thrill ride, but not terrifying and scary. Social media erupted with disappointment. On X, user @FinalGuyChris defended the reboot, saying, "The Tom Cruise Mummy wasn't even bad. You're just mad it wasn't a Brendan Fraser Mummy movie." But the numbers didn't lie. A 35% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and a Metacritic user score of 4.7. Fans on Reddit's r/entertainment tore it apart. The movie turned into, hey, it's a Tom Cruise movie starring Tom Cruise. It seemed more about building him up than creating an interesting story. The media fallout was brutal. IndieWire dubbed it the worst Tom Cruise movie ever. Critics panned its convoluted plot and lack of soul, with one Reddit user noting, they were going for some mission, impossible-esque anthology where Jack Reacher fights monsters. Director Stephen Sommers, who helmed Fraser's first two films, felt personally slighted. "I was kind of insulted because the writers and director, Kurtzman, of that Tom Cruise one, no one ever contacted me. I just think it's common courtesy." The dark universe collapsed before a second film could even shoot, leaving planned crossovers with The Invisible Man and others dead in the sand. The legacy of Fraser versus Cruise. Fraser's trilogy wasn't perfect. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor caught flack for replacing Weisz with Maria Bello and straying to China, a move tied to NBC's Olympics push. But even that third film, which Fraser himself critiqued, had a spark of fun. With the exception of 3, the thing with all of these films is that you wanted to do it again, he said. Fraser's commitment was legendary. He powered through a knee injury and a near-fatal stunt mishap during the 1999 film's production. Director Summers recalled to The Hollywood Reporter, "He was game for anything we threw at him." That grit, paired with the film's lighthearted tone, made them enduring classics, still raking in residual checks 25 years later. Cruise, on the other hand, was an odd fit. Known for high-octane action and mission, Impossible and Top Gun, his Mummy leaned into his intense persona, but forgot the franchise's roots. Reddit users pointed out that the original script focused on Sofia Boutella's female mummy, but Cruise's involvement pivoted the story to center him, alienating fans who wanted a fresh take, not a star vehicle. What's funny is that this happened because Alex Kurtzman had no directorial experience, one user wrote. So when Cruise was signed, he pivoted the entire movie to be about him. Cruise's star power couldn't save it. Even his passion, like paying his crew during COVID, couldn't mask the film's lack of heart. The broader context? Universal's monster legacy. The 1932 Mummy with Boris Karloff set the stage, but Fraser's 1999 version redefined it as a joyous adventure. The 2017 reboot tried to modernize it with a darker, interconnected universe, but audiences rejected the shift. Now, a new horror-centric reboot by Evil Dead Rise director Lee Cronin looms for 2026, promising something very ancient and very frightening. But as Fraser's comments suggest, straying from the fun formula might spell trouble again. Why this matters? "Look, I grew up watching Fraser's Mummy on repeat," quoting, "I'm just an ordinary guy who's in love with an extraordinary woman, while dodging imaginary scarabs." Those movies were pure escapism, funny, thrilling, and unpretentious. Cruise's version? It felt like a corporate checklist, not a love letter to fans. Fraser's right. Movies like these should make you want to grab popcorn and go again. Hollywood's obsession with cinematic universes sometimes forgets that audiences crave joy, not just spectacle. It's heartbreaking to see a franchise that shaped my childhood fumble so badly, and Fraser's candid take feels like vindication for every fan who felt let down. But it's also a warning. With Cronin's horror reboot coming, will Universal learn from this? Or are we doomed to another misfire? What do you think? Did Cruise's Mummy miss the mark because it wasn't fun enough? Or was there something else at play? Are you Team Fraser? Or do you think Cruise got a bad rap? And what about this new 2026 reboot? Should it stick to horror or bring back the adventure vibes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Also, would you want Fraser back as Rick O'Connell, or is it time for a new hero? If you loved diving into this Hollywood mystery, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite films. Hit the bell so you don't miss our next video, where we'll uncover another blockbuster flop that shook Tinseltown. Share this with your movie-loving friends, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments.